Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, and so today we're going to talk about healthy, holistic weight loss. And specifically, today we're going to talk about talking to your food and how important that is. So we had a great live last night with Natalie where we talked all about our coffee and why we make the coffee choices that we do, and some other alternatives if you're not a coffee drinker that you might find helpful. And so that went great. And then tonight is the last night of our Gap in the Gain book club. And then next week on Thursday night, we start the You Are a Badass book. So if anybody wants to join that, I can comment below if you can't find the link. But the link is out there and you should be able to register for that and get your book. They are we're going to do it one section at a time. There's 5 sections of the book, so we're going to start on the first section on Thursday night. So that's exciting because I haven't read that one yet. Usually I read them before I introduce them for a book club, but this time I'm actually going to be reading it for the first time with you guys. So that's fun. And so let's get started. So talking to your food, I know it sounds strange, and I know, I was kind of grew up thinking that people that talk to their food were somewhat strange. But we're going to do it for different reasons. We're going to do it in a way that is going to help us develop that relationship. Okay. And for most of us, the relationship that we have with food is not one that we want to keep. I know the relationship that I used to have with food is not one that promoted health. It was not one that led to any type of positive growth or healing. And so it wasn't one that I wanted to keep and have hanging around. So I learned to change that. And one of the ways that we can change that relationship with food is to start new, start fresh, being willing and open to see our food for what it actually is and not for what we want to pretend it is, or not for what we would like it to be. So I'll never forget. So growing up, I was raised to say grace. And to this day, when I am with my brother, who does not make the same food choices that I do, and he will say grace and he will ask God to make the food nourishing to our bodies. And I have to say, um, you know, we are responsible for those choices. So he gave that responsibility to us to make choices that are nourishing to our body. It isn't something that, well, we're going to eat whatever we want and we're just going to kiss it up to God and hope for the best and ask for it to be nutritious because this is what we want it to be. So we're just going to ask for some miracle for it to be turned into something valuable in our system. It's not really the way that it works. So we want to be very responsible. We want to take accountability for what we're eating, but in order to do that, we really have to be able to identify it for what it actually is. So, I heard someone a few weeks ago put it in context as, think about when you are going out on a first date with someone. Before you decide to share a meal with that person, you want to learn as much about them. You want to investigate as much as possible, and before spending that time with them. Now this is, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours of your life, where but yet we don't do that same homework. We don't take that same consideration when it comes to something that we're going to actually eat in the meal that literally becomes a part of us. Okay, not only does it become a part of our being and who we are, but it determines our relationship with other things, like that person you might be eating with, because it changes neurotransmitters in our brain. It has all of these other impacts, right? So it's really important that we invest just as much time and effort into knowing more about what we're consuming, okay, and developing a healthy relationship so that we can get a different result. Hey, Les. So I dare you to start talking to your food. It can be just as simple as, hey, I know you know what the label is on the box, but hey, what's your name? What's your intention with me? How will you make me feel? I mean, we ask, if only we could ask our first date those questions, right? So let's say, for example, it's, well, my name is Captain Crunch, and my intention is to give you a sugar high, and then you're going to crash. And you're going to feel full for a short time period, but then you're going to be starving because there wasn't any nutritional value here at all. I was fortified with all these chemical nutrients, but that really isn't going to get you real far, and you're going to need something else. So that would be one way to have this conversation. Let's say it's kale. What's your name? What's your intention with me? How will you make me feel? Hey, how you doing? I'm Kale. I'm going to saturate your body with B vitamins so that you can detox and make hormones and have a sustainable amount of energy. I'm going to make you feel amazing. These are very different things, right? So being honest with ourselves, because what we tell ourselves, a particular food, like, it might be a craving that you have, and you might have that craving because of some memories that you have attached to that food in the past, maybe growing up, that held a feeling of love because you were able to eat it with your family, and maybe it surrounded a celebration of some kind. So that created these positive attachments to it. But being brave enough, courageous enough to start breaking that down and say, well, really the positive part of that experience was not the food, and separating those things out. It was the love that I experienced at the time I was consuming it. It was the comfort that I experienced at the time I was consuming it. It was the people that I was around at the time I was consuming it. It wasn't the food itself. The food itself, let's be honest, is XYZ. So we're, first of all, disassociating, and then we're building the value in what was truly valuable in that experience, and we're devaluing the part that was not valuable in that experience, okay? This starts reprogramming your subconscious, okay, which is really what runs the show. That's what makes these decisions where you just do things. I don't know, I just did it. That's where some of these cravings are coming from, because we're really craving the emotion that's attached to it and not the food itself. So if we can separate those things out, acknowledge them for what they actually are, and then choose to rebuild, and then choose to devalue, that's going to be really powerful if you're trying to change any of the way you perceive some of these foods. So if you're going to continue to try to diet, if you're going to continue to try to lose weight, if you're going to continue to try to even just get healthier in general, and you continue to allow these foods to hold the same value that they always had, and you don't do any of that disassociating, then guess what happens? It's not going to be a lifestyle change. It's not going to be something that you can completely ever disassociate with, because eventually your brain, if not immediately, it's always going to be this battle. It's always going to be this fight inside. It's always going to be this frustrating situation. So you really want to make sure that you take the time, and it doesn't have to be a long time, but take the time to just quickly go through some of these steps to help change those associations. So, and you want to continue to do that, because studies have shown that it takes 30 days to reprogram your conscious brain, but 3 cycles of that, so 90 to reprogram your subconscious brain. So don't expect this to be like a light switch. Well, I did it once and it didn't work because it happened again. Okay, it's not a light switch. This is something that has to be reprogrammed. This is something that you have imprinted in your brain as something good and something valuable for probably a very long time in your life. And now we're taking the time to unravel that, okay? So be careful, just try to identify those opportunities, all right? As far as bringing up the value in some of these healthy foods that maybe you didn't necessarily associate as valuable before. If you're not sure what kale does for your body, or whatever other food that, hey, consciously I know that this is a healthy food, I'm not exactly sure why, Google it while you're sitting there. Dr. Josh Axe, he has tons of good information about foods on his site. Look it up in your food logging app. If you're working with me and you use the app that we use, plug it in there, so that you can see the nutritional value there. Or I think it's myfooddata.gov or something like that is one that you can find online, or MyFitnessPal sometimes people will use. Start there and then start searching it, nutritional value of whatever the food is, okay? And start building the value in those things. Because guess what? If there's something that that you truly believe is good for you, you're going to naturally, subconsciously, you're going to start to gravitate toward it more and more and more as that belief system grows. So it's something that you don't even have to, there's no fight anymore, right? So there's no push and pull or resistance to that new behavior the more that you do that. So, and also be careful of the word can't, because so many times I hear, oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I don't like that. I can't eat that. Or I can't, I've never been a morning person. I can't do this. Or, whatever the behavior, the habit, the food is, be really careful of the word can't, and make sure that you're only using the word can't if you absolutely don't want to do something. Because let me tell you something, the challenge with the word can't is that it eliminates all options of success. You have literally removed, when you say the word can't, you literally remove every opportunity that you have to succeed in that arena, okay? So make sure that you're using the proper words, okay? Is it that you can't, which is, I absolutely don't want to do this, that's what that really means, or is it that you won't? And stop and think about it for a second. Well, if you did, 9 times out of 10, the word won't is probably more appropriate than the word can't, okay? So when you hear yourself use the word can't, challenge yourself to be honest and transparent and say, is this that I really can't, or that I won't? And if it's that I won't, that's fine too. Now work at that level. Okay, I won't is manageable. I won't is something that you can work through. Can't put you and this situation into this box that it's impossible to manage, okay? We don't want to, then you're going to that's when you get the feeling like you're beating your head against the wall, okay? That's the I can't box, all right? So when you're talking to yourself or you're talking to other people, every time you hear the word can't, remember that when you're make sure that you use that word when it's something that you absolutely do not desire to take any action on at all, because that's the box that you're putting that in. So today's challenge is to locate these words in your vocabulary when they come up. Allow yourself to replace them with a word that's more effective and more appropriate to the situation, because we found that in our language, we tend to use the same words over and over again, right? And really, sometimes the key to healing, sometimes the key to remapping our brain is expanding the words that we're using and allowing ourselves to be a little bit more accurate, right? So let's say you're in a boat and the boat's sinking and there's this huge hole on the side, okay? You have this coffee can and you're taking some water out and you're removing it from the boat. Is that really stopping the water from coming in? No, it's only a Band-Aid. So, you and I both know that a Band-Aid, at some point, your arms are going to get tired. The boat's still going to sink. All right. We're just prolonging the inevitable. So the key is to find a way to plug the hole. And the way to plug the hole is to use your words effectively, to be conscious about your language. And just be very aware when you're saying you can't, in the situations that you're using that with, locate them, replace them. And just try to start using words that are more effective, things that will actually assist you in getting more of the results that you desire, okay? And a little less of that beating your head against a wall response, okay? So another really powerful one is up until now. So so many people will say, I can't eat healthy because I just love fast food. So again, is it that you can't or that you won't? Just loving fast food doesn't stop you from eating healthy, doesn't make it impossible to eat healthy. So what does that really mean? It really means that you won't eat healthy because you choose to utilize that mealtime with fast food. Okay, so being more accurate. So your brain can work at that level. Your brain can't work at the level of, well, I can't eat healthy because I love fast food. So you're telling your brain there's nothing to be done here. There's no possibility. So we're not utilizing energy on that situation because it's a waste of energy. And I only have so much and I have to prioritize and I got to heal this and I got to heal that and I've got to deal with this and you're stressed out. It feels like a bear's coming out of this. So anyway, so there's, it's not going to allot funds to that situation. Make sense? So changing it to up until now, I believed I couldn't eat healthy because I loved fast food. Now I can eat healthy because I desire to fuel my body. So I will choose other forms of entertainment. I believe investing in my health is valuable and it allows me to show up as a better mom, as a better spouse, as a better friend, as a better citizen. Okay. So can you feel the difference there? One is you're just going to be beating your head against a wall, getting the same result and doing the same thing over and over again. And the other one is actually going to support you in a way that you can be successful and move toward your goals. And this applies whether it's food, whether it's something in your career, whether it's something in your personal life. You can apply this framework to any of these areas and it's going to increase your results. So I'd love to hear about your I can'ts and hear some of your I can'ts and how you are going to choose to reword that moving forward. So if you're watching the replay, hit replay or let me know that you're watching the replay. And I would love to hear some of these I can't that we're going to work on this week. I will see you soon.